I don't know what I look like when I talk about float therapy, but the best way I can describe what I might look like is like maybe a sparkle in my eye.
Yeah, I was gonna say, you are you're like smiling. Yeah.
I get so excited over it. It's the only thing really that makes me this like excited and happy. Post float clarity.
Great name.
It's a fantastic name.
Yeah.
That's how we're going to start. Post float clarity. Welcome to episode number 1. Post float clarity is a fantastic name.
PFC,
dude.
Yeah.
PF Chang's, dude.
Yes.
I mean, yeah, I don't even know. I sat on that for like months. Mm-hmm. And I thought about it in the float tank. I thought about it most nights in my sleep. Like, what is this podcast going to be called? Post float clarity, I think, is exactly the perfect name of it. Pat and I were talking a little bit about like the name, and I was telling him that like nobody's asked me like about the name, and I was like, it's definitely a spin on post nut clarity.
Totally.
Right. And like nobody's asked me.
Yeah.
But I was telling Pat, it's like you get in the float tank and then like you spend an hour in there and you get out and you're like, fuck that bitch. Like, what was I even thinking or doing? Like, so I'm really excited. This podcast is it's going to be the only active float therapy podcast that exists in the world right now. There's been others that have been done, but it's been a few years since anybody's really recorded anything. So I'm making the commitment to do weekly episodes about float therapy and having all of my friends and experts in the industry on. So welcome, Robert Tabet.
Thank you.
Thank you for being here. Yes. I'm so excited.
I also think the fact that you're the only one doing it right now makes picking a name super easy.
Yes.
You have any option you want. Because anytime someone wants to do like a comedy podcast, they're like, I have 4 names left. Every name has been taken, but you can do whatever you want.
Yeah, exactly.
And you nailed it, I think.
I think I did too. And well, so like there are some names that were like, what do they call it? Like low hanging fruit, right? And so I did have to go through see, has anything been done before? And like, what have the names been of those podcasts? So there was some things that I had thought of that were similar to those names, and so I was just like, nope, I don't want anything close to that. And then landed on post float clarity.
PFC episode 1.
PFC episode 1.
We're here.
So this is kind of crazy. I wanted to have you because I've known you like since I landed in Austin. So it's been like 4.5 years, right? And so we've been friends since then, and you've seen a whole lot of me, just like a lot. And I say that like a whole lot of like, I would say negativity and sadness, right? Like I have been just like mentally struggling, I think, since I got here. And I don't think it started to turn around until I found float therapy.
And now you're floating, pun intended. You're
and
walking
now I'm
around,
floating almost
and
every
glowing.
day. Floating and glowing. I mean, like, I'm my most beautiful after a float. I floated like 3 hours ago, and I feel amazing. But yeah, floating has completely changed my life. And then I happened to find out that you were floating at some point in your life.
Yep.
And so I really wanted to talk about that and like what your experiences were when you were floating, why maybe have you stopped,
so it was interesting. One of my best friends still to this day in college, he went off. He's a guy that like loves to like explore and try unorthodox stuff, and he started floating by himself towards the end of college. And then at that time I was taking a LSAT prep class, which is a class where you prepare to take the LSAT, which is the law school admissions test.
Okay.
And I remember at the time I was like really struggling with what I wanted to do, because like I ended up doing really well on the LSAT, but like something felt like weird. And so at the same time I was dating a girl at the time who had like heard me talk about how my buddy Patrick was floating, and she was like, you seem stressed. So for my birthday one year, she got me like a float tank like gift card to the one that I think your boss or mentor used to work at, that exact location. So I went, and then like within like 2 sessions of floating, I like dropped my intentions to go to law school. It like completely
That's
changed.
insane.
It changed my trajectory, and it also made me realize like what I was struggling with was like the balance of like I can excel in a very regimented lifestyle, which is what like the typical 9 to 5 was.
Yeah.
But at the same time, the class that I was taking was outside of the 9 to 5 life, and I was enjoying putting myself into something outside of work and building something for myself. But also at the same time, it wasn't towards like really what I wanted to do, and what I wanted to do was like something like art related. So at the time, another one of my best friends, Victor, who I've known now for 22 years, he had just started music. So basically I like took that session, the 2 sessions, and then that helped me answer questions on what I wanted to do and why I was struggling with. Like it gave me just a very clear idea of like what I was struggling with. And then it pointed me in the right direction. Now, it did lead to a lot of very like difficult ups and downs, but it was ups and downs pertaining to something that I felt mattered to me. Okay. Like the thing that I would always struggle with is another one of my very best friends was in law school at the time when I was studying to get into it. And the whole time I'd be talking to him, he'd be like, yeah, I'm at the library. It'd be like 2 a.m. and he's like studying. And in my head, I'm like, I don't know if I'm going to be able to like compete with these people that like love like law school and being lawyers. So like it pivoted me towards like a life that was like probably a little bit more unorthodox and challenging, but at the same time it was like truly what I wanted to do. And I do think that was the first pivot in my life that led me to like where I am today, which is the most happy I've been and the most comfortable. So it's really weird because like I think what floating does for me, and I want to hear about your experience too, is it distinguishes the struggles of the heart and of the gut and of the soul. And which when you're struggling, you don't realize how much your brain will just push everything together. But when you're floating, it kind of just like separates every part of it. Yeah. And then you'll be able to understand where your like true battles lie. And what at the time for me, the true battle was in my heart. I just like was like, I'm not feeling that this is like truly what's going to propel me for the rest of my life. Yeah. So that's what started it.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I'm going through that with comedy right now. Not to say that I'm going to stop doing comedy, because I don't think I'll ever stop doing comedy. I love comedy, but it doesn't make me feel the way that, you know, sharing float therapy with the world makes me feel. So I didn't figure that out until I was in the tank. And I knew that I liked telling jokes and I knew I liked making people laugh, but the rest of comedy is a nightmare for me. Right. And I think often like, I don't want to be out till 2 a.m. on trying to do a fucking open mic. Like, like there's what other use of my time could, I don't know, be just more purposeful. And I mean, like, there's a float conference, right? And so that's going to be in Norfolk, Virginia this year. And I'm going to do stand-up there. So it's not like I'm going to stop completely. It's not in my heart and soul the way that I thought it was going to be when I first started.
It's a smaller piece of the pie.
Yes. And I figured that out in the tank.
And I think what's so interesting is, like, with like the sensory deprivation chamber, it really takes away a lot of your typical problem solving skills. Yes. Because a lot of times you like look around, or you might lean on someone, or you might text somebody, or you might look something up on your phone. Yeah. But when you're in like absolute nothingness and it's just you will still solve the problem. Yes. That's the weird part about floating. Or you'll ask so many questions, you'll realize you're not even trying to solve the right problem. Yeah. It's a different thing than you thought. Yes. You know, that's what I realized when I was floating. But the part about it is it just, you are going to be honest. When you're alone and there's absolute no judgment, just your brain and your gut and your heart. You it's like a very, very like heavy type of honesty that is like staring you in the face, and then you can decide what to do with it, but it's there.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, like the tank speaks to you.
Yeah.
You don't even, like, you're not present or anything, just like the way that I have found it is just that the answers come.
Yeah.
And they just appear, and then you're like, oh, okay, I guess that's the answer to that.
Yeah.
Because I generally doing the sensory deprivation experience is like my personal way to float. Like no sound, no light is I love it. And then people like want me to do music, and it's like fine. Sometimes I'll have sound. But when I do have sound, it's I like really aggressive thunder.
Yeah.
Just like I want to feel like we're under attack.
Yeah.
And that just kind of
Yeah.
like I want to feel like the world's ending, and that just seems to put my mind at ease for some reason.
Yeah.
Not sure why that is, but if I am listening to something, it's probably that. But I started getting away from like the sensory deprivation, because people are always like, oh, play this music, try this playlist, and I want to try out different things, but like no light, no sound is what works best for me.
Same. And honestly, a lot of times I feel like when I would do it, I felt like I'd be cheating myself if it was anything other than that.
Yes.
Because it's like, it's all the same session. And also there's something weird. I did do music once. I probably floated like 10 times. I did do music once, and something about the music made me hyper aware of how much time was passing by. Okay. I don't know why. It was just like as it was playing, I wasn't able to keep time, but I was like, it doesn't feel like I'm as like just floating and suspended. Whereas like when nothing else was going on, I was like, I have no idea what day I got in here. I don't know what's happening. So let's not focus about that and just like look inward. So I think something about the music kept me a little bit rooted in the actual space, whereas like when in silence, you're like fully delving.
Yeah, 100%. And there are times where I've had like music on where I've had like really trippy experiences. And that's like fine, but nothing compares to the silence for me. Like I just it's like a reset button that you didn't know you needed until you got it. But the one thing I'm struggling with right now, generally people can fall asleep in the float pod, and my dream is like to get rid of my living situation and like live out of a tank is what I want to do. But I found out recently, well, I already knew this, but anytime I've ever dozed off during a float, my entire body will jolt. So like if even for a second I fall asleep, sometimes it's just like my right arm that flails, sometimes it's my whole body that just kind of wakes up. And more recently, because of trying to do comedy and the podcasting and, you know, working at the spa, I'm like, I've got 1 million trillion things going on. I'm like, it would be great if after comedy I could just go float. Yeah. Which I have full permission to do. The issue is that I am, I guess, apparently scared of falling asleep in the tank, which I did not know. And it's hard to know that you're scared to fall asleep in the tank when your dream is to fall asleep in the tank. But in the last few weeks, I've tried, and I get like a lot of anxiety before I go try to fall asleep in the tank, and I don't know what that's about, and I'm sad about it. Yeah, because I want to fall asleep in the tank.
Yeah. Do you find that floating before or after a set is better?
It would have to be after. Before's not good.
Yeah, because before you're like so numb. You just will go on stage and say some fucked up shit without like thinking about, what's up, guys? And you're like, no, this is not the vibe for what you're saying right now. After you can like process your decisions and how you felt it went and stuff like I mean, I haven't floated since I've started comedy, but just thinking through as you were talking, it's like, it's an after show activity.
100%.
Yeah.
I remember when I was just getting into floating, it would have been like August of last year, 2025. I was going up at at Cap City for FPIA, and it had to have been just like a few weeks that I had been floating, and I got in the tank before the show. It was like, I don't know, we were supposed to be there at like 7:45 or something, and it was like 5:30 that I was floating, and I was in the tank and I could not relax. I was so nervous. And they were like, okay, well, just like go get in the cold plunge. That might help you. That was like the first time I'd ever done a cold plunge. All the nerves were like taken away, all the anxiety. And then I like had the best 5-minute set of my life. And I was like, okay, so I thought floating would be helpful before comedy, especially something that had a little bit more weight to it, right? And it turns out that was not the case at all.
It would almost be like a Hot Ones style thing, like float for 5 minutes and try to do 5, and then float for 10 and try to do 10 and see how far you can make it before you're just like not even doing comedy. You're just holding like a mass therapy session with everyone. Like you need like the unhealthy little tendencies in your emotions to make some stuff funny, but it's really good for unpacking what you've just done.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and it's been really good for writing, like going in there with an intention of a joke or a premise or whatever, and it's almost similar to the problem solving. It's exactly the same, where if like you're going in there to try to solve a problem, you kind of get the answers that will automatically come to you, whether you like them or not. It's the same thing with trying to write a joke or a bit or work on a premise in the tank. You just sort of get these droplets of, I mean, I call them, like, it sounds crazy, but like gifts that are like dropping from the dark abyss. And I'm like, oh, okay, I guess. And then I don't really do well, no comic does well really with like remembering stuff right when they think of it. Like, I don't have a notebook in my float pod, right? And sometimes if it's really pressing, then I'll like do a hey Siri and ask her to, jot something down, but the point is not to use the phone while I'm in the tank. So
God, that must be infuriating.
Most of the stuff I think of in the tank I can remember.
That's awesome.
When I get out.
That's awesome.
I had a situation a couple weeks ago where I thought of something funny and couldn't remember it after, but that was like one situation out of many. Yeah. Where it's like, no, I can pretty much retain whatever I think about.
I've also found like the truly funny ideas I will like circle back to. Yes. So like I've just come to try, like a lot of times if I think of something, I'll write it down, and then like I don't know how many times I'll look back on it and be like, absolutely not. Yes. But then a lot of times I'll think of something funny and then I'll just get distracted, and then I'll just know I forgot something. Yeah. And then I'll think of it later and be like, oh, that was the thing I forgot. That was in its back. Yeah. So I kind of believe like it's all coming from somewhere, and it's not like it's just disappearing forever. It's just not in your mind at the moment. It's somewhere tucked away, so it'll come back. But I would have a lot of trouble because like I haven't floated since I was doing comedy. Like I would have a lot of trouble not thinking about comedy when I'd be in there, just because like everything else in my life, because of how my life is tailored, is much more pressing on my brain. I only now think about comedy when I'm like alone in the car. Okay. Or like at shows or hanging out with friends. Yes. Like work and like gym and stuff like that. It's a lot more personal life stuff. So
I think that you would I don't think that's true.
You don't think so?
I think you should try and find out.
I am going to try and find out, just because for a while that weird part was like I'd tell people I'm floating and they just like look at me weird. I'm like,
yeah, I have no shame about it.
Yeah, well that's you're going to like inject it in everybody, but like it is also cool too, because I think really at its core floating is like a form of meditation. It is. And a lot of comedians have come around to meditation and just like sobriety arc in general, like a lot. Yes.
Thank God.
Yeah,
thank God.
Because it's only when you start making those changes that you realize how far you have to go. Yes. Whereas like everyone's walking around being like, I'm like fine. It's like no, and so it's cool to see. Like I think now more than ever, this is the era to be able to like get people on board with floating. I kind of think it's one of the only things in the world of like sauna in cold plunge and calisthenics and all that stuff that hasn't really had a mainstream boom.
No.
But all it needs is like a Theo Von starting to talk about it, and then it's going to explode, you know?
Yeah, well, no, that's the thing. Like, and Pat and I were talking about this a little bit too. Like Rogan's that person who's, so it's like, if he is the reason why it's become more popular, but it's still like nobody, there's a lot of fear around it that people have. So
yeah, I was gonna say, I think it's because it's like a scarier thing than everything.
It's a scarier thing, yeah. So even though Rogan's talked about it, it's just like there's still not a lot happening. And so like my job is really like when I'm working at the spa to like make sure people are like really comfortable. Like it's a really sensitive interaction that I'm having with a lot of people who are going through different mental illnesses, you know, like PTSD, depression, you know, they have claustrophobic concerns, being, you know, the tank is too small, very high anxiety about, like, it's just a sensitive thing. Like people will walk in the spa and it's like, hey, you know, you ready to float? You excited to float? And they look at you like, I don't fucking know.
I almost think that people that would be excited to float like almost don't need it unless they're like passionate about it. I think
I was excited to float.
Well, but you're it's your passion, it's your thing. You found your thing.
Well, but yes, I found my thing, but my story goes like I bought a membership. I bought a close to $300 a month membership before I floated for my first time.
You just felt it?
I just like reading about it, I just knew.
Yeah.
I knew 100%
yeah.
that it was going to be that thing. And I had studied the different spas in the area. There's only like 2 spas. Well, maybe there's like 4 or 5, but I was working across the street from the first one that I had ever started floating at, and immediately like I just walked in, got a membership. They had an opening to float. I floated for my first time, came back the next day, and then I was like there every single day. Yeah.
It's really, I really think that the reason it hasn't quite blown up yet is it is an emotional commitment that feels daunting.
Yeah.
I mean, what's the shortest float? An hour?
An hour.
Right. So if you tell people just to sit in their car in silence for an hour, they'd be like, are you out of your mind?
Right.
To just be in absolute nothingness for an hour and it's just you.
Yeah.
And if you're not at least curious about what you could unpack, that's like not something people want to do.
No.
Even though it could so benefit them.
Yes.
I mean, it would 100%. I don't know what type of person you'd have to be to float and come out worse. You know?
Yeah, that's a good point.
Like what would happen? You know, like it's gonna at least clarify something. Yeah. It's not gonna make you dumber.
Yeah, I've never seen that. Yeah, somebody coming out in worse shape than they went in.
Totally.
Yeah, it doesn't really happen.
You might be a little bit more concerned about the nature of the things you're trying to figure out.
Yes.
But you'll mostly be quieter and be at the mercy of wherever your brain just went.
Yeah.
Because you really think you're going to be in control. And then you get in there and you're like, no.
The tank takes over.
The tank takes you away.
Yeah. That's so fun. Yeah. No, it's funny because like I do have a specific goal of getting like comics in tank. Like I want everybody to float. Like I think it is going to save the world, but like I do have a specific interest in, you know, the mental health community, the mental health of the comedy community.
It is the mental health community.
It is the mental health community.
That was a Freudian slip. Totally the mental health community, but yes. Yeah.
And so I've started, and so thankfully, like, just like one by one, people are coming through and interested about it. And it's just like, I don't know, I feel like honored to be able to be that for people. I had a couple people reach out in the past week that were going to get in a tank, and like, it's just like, I don't know, I just want to help the community rest.
Yeah.
That's it.
And I think it's such a perfect marriage of like what's in right now and the types of people that could benefit the most from it, that it's just like, yeah, it's just inevitable that things are going to start like rolling. And honestly, it could be like, I think comedians inherently like to try things that are scary.
Yes, they do. Naturally.
Naturally.
For
it's
sure.
what they like to do. It's the high that they get. So, and it's like I said, not just in society in general, but like with comedy, a lot of people are like really sobering up.
Yes.
And this is like a big, nice new twist on sobriety.
Yeah.
And you don't have to be sober to float, but it is like, if you're on that wave, like this is a thing that should like really speak to you.
Yeah. And you should float sober. Like that,
Totally.
that it's the best way to float. Otherwise, like anything else just kind of dampens the experience. And so like people will talk about, or like people who ask me to like come out, they'll be like, oh, can I take an edible before blah, blah, blah. I'm just like, please don't do that. Like, I just like won't have you, because I'm not going to be responsible for what happens to you in a float tank if you're fucked up going in.
Yeah.
At least like not on my watch. Will I have that? And then, people, I think Sam's one of these people. Yeah, he talked to me. He was like, oh, if I float for my first time, like do mushrooms before going in. I could not. I could not.
Yeah, I mean, I've only ever done it sober. Technically, for a few of them, I was on Adderall, but I was prescribed. So it was just in my system. I didn't pop one to go float. I just woke up and did my normal, and then I was going through the day, and then like, time to go.
Yeah.
But other than that, yeah, I've been mostly sober. Like, as you were talking, I was thinking like a drunk float might be the worst idea of all time. Like, what?
Well, yes and no, because I had this couple that came in the spa. This was like the first time I felt like I had saved somebody's life, like when I started working at the
They
spa
start
that
drowning?
I'm at. What's that?
Did they start drowning?
No. But I remember it was like a chaotic experience with them, like talking to them on the phone, trying to get them scheduled. And then they were like late for their appointment. They were like, I don't know, like 30 minutes late for their appointment. I'm letting them know like, hey, you'll only be able to be in the tank for about a half hour. They're like, oh, it's completely fine, whatever. But like trying to communicate with them on the phone it seemed like just chaos. And then I remember that it was a couple. And the lady, she calls me, and she's like, we're just right outside. We're by the movie theater. And it's like, all right, just walk in. Like, you're already half hour out. You don't have to give me a play-by-play of, like, where you are. And so, like, they park, they walk in the spa, and, like, my first thought, like, you could smell the tobacco. The smell of cigarettes was so strong. And then I also thought they were drunk. And it was one of those things where it's like, I mean, it's not like we're a bar. Like, I don't know.
No, arguably the opposite.
Yeah.
Arguably the opposite of a bar is a float tank.
It's a float tank.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're by yourself
That
and
is a
quiet,
well.
and almost no one can get to you. That's the opposite of a bar.
So they walk in, and, it's this whole process. Like, we've got to give them an intro video. We've got to take them on a tour of the spa. So you don't just, like, walk in and get in the tank when you're new to
you have to
floating.
give them a rundown. Like, it's in there, enjoy. Like, what?
Yeah. And so that all happens, and I'm like, they're only going to get a half hour. They came out 2 different people. Just completely, like, well-rested, well-mannered.
Probably smelling a little better.
Smelling way better. And it was, like, the most incredible thing I had ever seen. I was like, I didn't even recognize the one lady when she got out of the tank. I'm like, this is not the same bitch. Like, what's going... And they were only in there for, like, 30 minutes.
Yeah, it's so... I feel like sometimes the float tank is like Interstellar, where like 1 minute out here is like 1,000 years for some people in the tank.
Yeah, it's like dog years.
Yeah. They come out, you're like, wow, this is... But you don't know which way they're going to go. Because I'm sure some people come out and they're like, feel and look younger. And some people you're like, dude, you went through some shit.
Yes. Oh, yeah. People will come out and they're like heavy breathing. And it's like, oh, you really did some work in there.
Yeah. Whether you wanted to or not.
No, it's just like, are you good? Yeah, I'm fine. It's like, okay.
You
want to sit down and have some tea? No, I gotta go save my girlfriend. It's like, oh, she's about to jump, and I'm like, you saw that in the tank?
Dude, do you get real when you're in the float tank, do you see visuals or like words?
Yeah, so when I'm in the tank and it's like completely dark, completely silent, I'll have my eyes closed, and I can generally see at some point in the float just like flashes of light, like bright light. And a lot of people report that as well. Like there was even this one guy who he complained about it. He was like, why was the light so bright? And it was just like, dude,
that's God or something.
Yeah.
I don't know what to tell you. You can answer that question,
yes,
dude.
Right?
I should be asking you that question.
Yeah.
Why was your light so bright? I don't know.
Yeah.
You tell me.
Yeah, but then like, and
how did you answer that, by the way? What do you say?
Well, because there was a couple of things that could have been the problem that definitely weren't the problem. I thought he was seeing what we'll call the light.
Right.
And so since then, you know, I had experiences with like little flashes, but in more recent months I've seen, just like bright light. It almost looks like it's fluorescent, but it's definitely completely pitch black in the tank. So it's like, where's this light coming from, you know?
Yeah.
So yeah, it's a very interesting.
I would think a lot in like, it's interesting, like, a lot of times when I would be in there, I just find myself like asking questions. It's really weird. Like, it's like if you've never journaled before, when you first start, you're like, well, what am I going to write about?
Yes.
But then the more you journal, the more you realize a lot of it can be just asking questions.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what I'd find myself doing most. I thought I'd be visualizing more.
Okay.
I thought I'd be doing a lot more I don't know how to explain it, but like really, you know, thinking through scenes from my past.
Sure.
And thinking through it. But really I was just like a lot of words and like a lot of questions and a lot of like talking to myself, not out loud, but just like in my head, and kind of like, I guess, talking myself into a place where I was like, oh, this is a new place that I've never been. This is a new thought I've never had. This is a new angle that I've never considered. And, you know, it sounds fun when you're talking about like writing a bit or something like, oh, here's a new angle. But when you're talking about the nature of your life, it's not that fun. Yeah, it's not that fun. But it is necessary, and it is a cool place.
Yeah, absolutely.
To go. So that's always fun. But I was going to ask you, and you don't have to share this if you don't want, but do you have like a top 3 or 5 comedians or people in town that you're like, oh, I would love? Because you were really pumped about float, and I don't know if we want to say it, but you were really pumped about floating Kill Tony, and a good friend of yours.
Yeah.
Regular or golden ticket winner, I don't know what he is, but do you have other people that get you excited about the idea?
Yeah, I mean, like, really everybody. So yeah, I was able to bring Aaron Belisle to the spa, and yeah, we've been friends for like 3 years, and when we started becoming friends, like, he had already had a following, like, prior to the Kill Tony, but it was like a mental health following. So Aaron's foundation is like mental health and wellness, right? And then so him and I were just kind of like, I don't want to say growing up, but like growing up in the same sort of like, what the F is this kind of environment, like around like absolute superstars and being like infants. And so we were able to connect in that way. And then since then, he's just like blown up out of control. And he has a hard time, I think, getting peace. He came to town a couple months ago, and he had just finished wherever he was on tour. And I remember he was telling me some of the stuff going on in his life, and I've been wanting Aaron to float for months. And the thing about it is that, like, Aaron didn't know, like, I was wanting this so bad. Like, I'd never said anything. So he came to town, and I was like, okay, well, I don't get to see him super often, so I was just like, hey, I work at this spa. He had texted me one day. I was like, hey, let me know if you want to chill and write at the spa. And I was scared to ask him to float, and I had been talking to my bosses about it, and I just was unsure. And this happens over the course of maybe like 3 days. I'm like slow burning this, trying to get him in a float tank, right?
Yeah, you don't want to scare him, but you're like, this would be so awesome. Yes. So sick. Just play it cool.
Play it cool. Don't,
don't blow it.
And so all I'm saying is like, you want to just come chill. You can write, we can chat, whatever, catch up. And I think the day after that, I ended up sending him a link to the spa that I work at. And he just responds and he's like, well, I've never done a float thing before. Because I'm just like, here, if you're interested in anything, just, let me know.
Yeah.
Very like subtle.
Yeah.
And he's like, yeah, I've never done a float thing before. And so we're talking about it a little bit. And he's just like concerned he's going to drown. I'm like trying to convince him, like, you're not going to drown, blah, blah, blah. And then he sort of comes around. But as he's coming around, I'm like turning around.
Yeah.
I'm like going in the opposite direction, more toward where he was. Because in that time period, I got the idea of like, look it up. Like, is anybody putting adults with cerebral palsy?
Yeah, that's one thing to note for the people at home.
Yeah.
Aaron has cerebral palsy.
He's
not just a guy that's scared of drowning in a float tank.
No, Aaron has cerebral palsy. He's got, kind of a bent out of shape leg and arm, and
that's a good way to put it.
Bent out of shape, little bent out of shape he is. And so he's also mute, right? So he does comedy, but he does it with his text to speech and like a little speaker by the microphone, and he's incredibly talented and funny. But definitely bent out of shape, and definitely because he's so large of an act, he has a hard time getting peace. And so
also, if you would need to ask for help or anything, it's on a speaker that he can't bring in the tank.
So we have intercoms in the spa, and most float spas don't have these, but the one I work at does. And so in my head, I'm like, okay, if he needs anything, like, he's not going to be able to communicate what he needs. And at the end of the day, it just came down to like, he's a grown-ass man, he can get in the tank, there's waivers, we had him sign the waivers, that's how it goes. You look at what you're agreeing to, and then you go do it. But because I had looked it up and found that there's no research being done on adults with CP in float tanks, I was just like, I saw this tidbit of like, maybe they should consult their doctor. And so I said to Aaron, as he was arriving to the spa, like, or as he was in the spa, like, maybe you should talk to your doctor. And he was like, I don't have a doctor. I was like, okay, well, maybe you should have a doctor. Like, out of all people, maybe.
Think about that in the float tank. If you should have a doctor.
You should have a doctor. And so he is on, like, we're on polar opposite sides now. Like, I'm like, I don't want to get you in there anymore. And he's like, I'm going to get in. And I'm just like, I've lost this battle. Right. And so I'm like, whatever. And we figure out kind of how we can accommodate him. And it ended up being fine. He was in there for 45 minutes, and I asked him not to turn the light and the tank off. I was just like, please, for the love of God, do not do it, at least for the first time. I have no idea whether he did it or not. He's not going to listen to me. He probably turned the light off, but he just needed some extra towels on the ground, just as an anti-slip measure. And he ended up liking it. And so the word was, when I asked him how it was when he got out, was that the leg that he has that is bent out of shape was straight. I think for the first time. I don't know if that was the first time, but it was definitely a highlight of the float. And I almost like cried in his face. Like, because I was just like, oh my God. Like, while he was in there for the 45 minutes he was in there, I was pacing around the
I was like, how do you feel when he's in there?
Not good. I was not doing good.
You needed a float after that.
I was stressed out. Because I told him, when you get in, like, just go ahead and hit the intercom button so I know you're in safely. And so he got in, he hits it, but then it couldn't have been more than like 2 minutes later, we hear it just going off like crazy. Like, it's buzzing just nonstop. And I'm like, okay, well, if he needs anything, I'm technically like not supposed to be helping him. And so I go to the door that of the room that he's in, and I just do a courtesy knock, and I open it. He's got the tank all the way closed, and I'm just like, hey, I heard the intercom buzzing. If you need help, can you just do some knocking around? And then it was silent, and so I was like, okay, he doesn't need help. And I closed the door, and I just paced around the spa. And yeah, and then it came out to be a good thing, and now he just did his 3rd float this past Sunday.
That's awesome. So he's like all in.
Yeah.
That's so sick.
It's very cool.
That's
very
fun.
cool to have him. But yeah, I've had him come through. Asana Mott has come through. Jimmy Moynihan's come through. Genevieve's come through. She's going to visit again. I've got some people on the radar who have reached out and asked that are also kind of bigger names in the scene. But it's that thing where they want to, they're just not ready to. But again, like, people who have reached out to me wanting to do it, and then I'm just like, yeah, anytime. And then I'm starting to find out, like, oh, maybe they're, a little bit hesitant, which is okay. My job is to be patient with people. Drew is one of those people that I've got to be patient with.
Him being worried about drowning in 6 inches of water.
Yes.
Just to clarify, Drew does not have cerebral palsy. He's the actual opposite of what we're talking about with Aaron. He might just drown because he is afraid he's going to.
Yeah, I know it looks like only golden ticket winners are floating right now, but yeah, Drew. When and this is important to note, like, I am obsessed with float therapy. I'm addicted to it. I do think it's gonna save the entire world, but not everybody has a good first experience, and that's okay as well. And so Drew Nickens was one of those people who didn't have the most positive first experience, but I'm trying to get him back in a tank, and he's got a lot of stuff going on that is preventing him from getting in the tank, which is okay. But every time I see him, I ask, or at this point, I just look at him, and then he just gets... I never see Drew get annoyed. He doesn't get annoyed with me.
He's so sweet.
He just knows it's coming because I just look at him, and he's like, are you going to ask me? And I'm like, no, I'm not going to, so I'm going to ask again in September.
Yeah, that's the way to do it.
Once a quarter.
Yeah, just a quarterly request.
Just a quarterly request.
Just checking in.
Because he's one of the people where, like, if we can get it to work, it's really gonna help him.
And he's one of those guys that, like, when he has a good time with something, everybody's gonna know.
Yes.
Every time I see Drew, he's updating me on something fun he did, and he wants me to do it too.
Yeah.
Or he tried an exciting thing, he wants me to do it too. Or he tried, something yummy, or, and he's all, because he's a very, like, giving guy.
Yes.
So he's a sweet guy. I love him. He's a good buddy of mine. But yeah, he did tell me that story, and, like, me and Sam were, like, pissing ourselves, laughing. And I think when somebody's telling you a story and you're, like, looking at them and you're like, I'm glad this is funny now, because there is, like, a little light in your eyes where it's like, oh, but this was, like, a scary thing when it happened. So, like, I'm glad he waited until he was laughing about it too, because it's like, it is a crazy to be like, I almost drowned.
Yes, for sure. And he does laugh about it, but you can still, and why I'll be so patient, you can still tell that it's like,
Totally.
And so, yeah, my job is just to be patient with people. You'll find this funny. A couple weeks ago, I had just gotten out of a float, and I was walking through the float hallway at the spa, and I passed this room, and the room is open, and a floater is inside of their pod with the doors wide open. And all I see is legs and toes.
Nice.
And I had never... I was like, what's going on here at the spa today?
Yeah.
Like, what the hell is happening? And that person just was not comfortable with any doors shut. And so... we have to just be mindful of everybody's comfort level and be patient. And sometimes having an extreme amount of patience is what's needed.
Yeah, they just wanted to play t-ball that day. Just the most basic version of... They just wanted to see... Basically, they wanted to see what the water felt like. I mean,
they wanted to just dip their toe.
They paid you to be like, let me see if I can float real quick. Literally just float, not even get into the therapy part. So, it's that's better than not doing it.
It is, yeah. Because,
and it's less scary.
You can't, like nobody, Drew would be the only, I think, documented case of coming out of the tank worse than when he went in. But like, even if you're just laying there and maybe you can't rest your mind, your body is still getting the physical benefits, right? And, it's 1,200 pounds of magnesium grade Epsom salt, right? And so you're getting like really deep muscle relaxation, whether you are bored or not, right? And so all that just contributes to like better well-being, better sleep, whether or not you liked it.
How often is the like I'm assuming if you were to do a really, really, really long float, would the water have to be changed at a certain... How often does the water in the tank change? Like, because sometimes the temperature fluctuates and stuff like that. How does that work? Yeah,
so the water in the tank goes through a filtration system. So we kind of started with the assumption that everybody knows what float therapy is, which everybody... True. Actually, a lot of people know what float therapy is. It's just the matter of the fact like people aren't trying it because they have reservations about it. And so where I work, we have these pods. It's about 11 inches of water and like 1,200 pounds of Epsom salt. And so that's like a 30% salted solution. So in that solution, it's hard for like bacteria to grow. So in addition to that, there's a filtration system that turns the water over, I think like 15 times in between clients. That's 15 at the minimum. And so, and then there's other treatment options that we have for the water and stuff through just daily maintenance.
It's tank. Like the way, if you for some reason don't know what it is, it reminds me of like, have you seen those like egg grills? It's like that cover on top of a very like densely like salted hot tub.
Yes.
That's like, it's like a it kind of looks alien if you have no idea
like
what it is.
I'm just picturing like Oscar Mayer wieners floating.
Well, that's what you saw when the person was just floating in the light. It's just like a little wiener sticking out. You're like, what is this? But it's a really, it feels like a sauna from the future.
Yes.
Is what it like feels like, because it's not really even like anything that you would be familiar with like seeing. It's a totally foreign thing. It's a totally different thing. The music sometimes is like typical of like a massage or like a therapy thing. Maybe like a Enya style water, wave, stone, stuff like that. Very calming. But when you walk in the room, you're like, oh, this is like, it kind of looks like a sci-fi movie a little bit.
Yes, a little bit, yeah. So, and then to answer your question, like about temperature, so the temperature is like precisely like 94.5 degrees, right? Designed to match your body temperature, so you sort of just blend in effortlessly with the water. There are different styles of pods and tanks, and so the style of pod that I generally float in is designed to retain that temperature for about an hour. Generally, when I float, I'll do like 2.5 hour floats. I've been doing more 1 hour ones recently just because like they're energizing and I need that. But I did a 3 hour float out in the woodlands.
Which is not casual at all.
No, it's not. It was great.
Super. Yeah, it's like the Iron Man of floats.
I loved it. Not to say that it wasn't a little bit difficult at some points, but
totally difficult.
Ultimately,
super. I think if anything, you're like underplaying it, because like when I do an hour one, I'm like, wow, that was a fucking hour. Like that was not. There's no question. You know, it's not like it's a place that like time flies, but it's not really even about time. But I think at a certain point, it does become like it's like a weird type of like spiritual endurance.
Yes,
that's not in anything else that you would like experience, you know. So it's that's wild. Did you go in to do that long? You're like, let me see how long I can do.
I went in to do that long. So like my mission is to get to like one new float spot every month. And so I think in the month of May, I went out to the Woodlands. It's right outside of Houston, Texas. And I went to Blissful Waters Float Spa. And they have these float cabins. That's why I'm not completely sure, like where you could have gone to one of two places that are no longer in operation. We can talk about that here in a bit. But so this float spa has cabins, and so this cabin is designed to like retain the temperature of the water throughout, no matter how long you're floating. So it's got like heaters below it. And so by hour 3, I was actually like hot. Like I would say by 2, I had to like open the door and like get some air in. And even with the air coming in, like the water was still like pretty
getting hot.
warm.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, different tanks are designed to do different things. The cabins are interesting because they're big, but I like pods. I like being like cozy and snuggled into.
Same.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's all I've ever done, but
yeah. Is float in a pod?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And the place that I went, what I remember about it is there was a pizza place around the corner. It was like a Neapolitan pizza place around the corner. It was like North Lamar Burnett area.
Yeah, so that place I think was called Liquid Mind. And so the funny part about that is, like, you and I have talked about it a couple times, and yeah, one of the owners of the spa I work at used to work there. And there was an opportunity for her to see the space, like literally within the last couple of months.
Wow.
And like her and my other boss went and saw the space, and, you know, it was like sort of like nostalgic and like closing the book for her, which was cool to hear about.
It is one of those businesses that, like, once a float spa, like, that's what it's going to be, unless you tear the whole thing down and like literally demolish the building. And, like, because it's like, what else are you gonna have in there that has like these like offices for like float pot, you know? It's just like it's in there already, you know? So, and
it's funny you say that, because like I didn't understand it when she told me at the time, but she was like she was telling me about like them going to just see the space, and just the thought of like it could be another float spa, but they're gonna level it. I didn't know what the word level meant.
Demo it. Yeah,
I had no idea what I'm just like, oh, they're just like making
they're
the
just
ground
leveling with
even.
me.
Like,
they're shooting me straight.
You know. And then I was talking to you about it, and I'm like, oh, they're just okay, that's R.I.P.
Yeah, and I'm glad you found that spot, because when we were talking, I started to feel like I'm like, no, I swear to God, it was a place that was like here. Like, I didn't know exactly where, but I'm like, it's in this. I would remember, because it reached a point where it was like, I used to work here, and then I would come here, and I would be like zooming in, and then finally, I don't remember what I put into the Google search, but the AI was like, you may be referring to blah blah blah, formerly float spa closed now.
Yeah, and I wasn't trying to put you through like a float spa boot camp. I just needed it. I needed to be sure that was the one you went, because like, I don't know, it could have been one or two. The other one that it could have been, I think, was called Zero Gravity, and it's now the True Rest by the Lizard Yoga on Menchaca. It's like 5 minutes away from where you live. Yeah, it's literally like, I just figured that out today. I was like, because when I'm in South Austin, I'm like, I have no idea where I am right now. And so I've been going to that True Rest. It's been 3 weeks now, and it's just like nice to get out of like the spa that I work at, and so I float there once a week. And so I was there this morning, and I was looking around, and I'm like, first of all, I would never live down here. I couldn't live south. Yeah. At all. I just couldn't live south. But then B, I was like, I think Robert lives around here somewhere. Yeah. Like,
it's the way I put it is like, it's a tough place to have like an apartment. Okay. You know, but I have a house, so I'm like chilling. I'm like insulated of like what's going on, but also like when I'm south, I'm like South Congress. Like in South First, there's some spots that get like sketchy. Yeah, it's like, I'm chilling on that area. But it's I know for a fact that this spot I would go to is like up north, and it was cool too, because at the time it was like kind of like it felt like a new thing that was like uncharted, and like people weren't really going to like do it. So now it's like I turn around, there's like a bunch of spots, because back when I was doing it, I'm like, I'm going to the float spot. There was just one,
and you say a bunch of spas. There's 5 in Central Texas.
But it's more than, you know, it's more than 0. How many are in Austin? 3.
In Austin proper. There's the True Rest in Austin South. There is the True Rest in Austin North. ... And then there is Ocean Lab, which is like 10 minutes away from here. It's on, I can't remember the name of the road, Harmon something. I don't know where those apartment complexes are that you can see off of the 35 bridge.
And then there's one in the Woodlands.
There's one in the Woodlands, but yeah, that gets outside of Central Texas.
Right.
There's a couple in Houston. There's some in San Antonio. Like, yeah, there's enough for me to go, but there's only enough for me to go to a new one once a month. Otherwise,
is there one that like nationally people are like, that's the like?
Well, so True Rest is the national brand. It's like really the only float.
No, like a location that you're like, oh, you gotta check this one out in like Denver or something. You know, like, is there like a spot like nationally where people are like, not a chain, but a specific like location that people are like, they have the coolest things?
So for me, that was gonna be Float Lab. So I don't know what you know about Float Lab.
No, I don't know anything about Float Lab.
I don't know a whole lot about it, but it was founded by a guy named Crash.
Okay, cool.
And Crash is just who you would imagine.
Right. Guy named Crash.
To be. What, when I say a guy named Crash, what do you imagine?
Is he a bandicoot?
Yeah. Nice.
Sorry. Let's check it out. Bye.
Crash. It's what I'm picturing is like a hippie Guy Fieri.
Yes. Guy Fieri. Okay. Yes, but maybe like on heroin. So
right,
yes.
Right.
Yeah, just like real. Yeah. Actually, it would be cool. Could you see if you could find a picture of Crash? Yeah, like really good friends with Rogan. He owned spas out in, I think, Venice Beach, California. And so that was the place, but I don't think they're...
Oh, Venice, it would totally be. That could be a great float spot.
I wanted to go out there, but both of their spas, as far as I know, are closed. I know that they manufacture some of the best chambers like in the industry, like really, really high quality, absolutely gorgeous. I've never been sexually attracted to a float tank until this moment, sort of like really beautifully finished. Look at that tank. Like, this is Crash right here with the shades on. Right next to him is John C. Lilly.
Oh, that's this guy.
Yeah, that's this guy. We've got a few books staged around. I've got The Center of the Cyclone. I've read none of these yet. I just got them. Center of the Cyclone. We have Communication Between Man and Dolphin.
Crash Hoffler.
Yeah.
Crash
and then,
from Float Lab.
Dude, these chambers are like... Click on the one on the left-hand side, that black one. This one here? Yeah.
Yeah, see, that's what I mean. Sometimes they just look like things from the future.
Oh, my God. It's beautiful. There's like this, there's this gorgeous red one that I'm in love with that I haven't been able to find a picture of. It was on their website at one point. This? No, that one's almost no. No, it was like an all red matte. Oh, it was so beautiful. But this is the place, and he's the guy who, yeah, I think that was like...
So that's the dream guest for this.
Okay. So the thought was that, I had known that Crash had been to a float conference, and my goal in 2025 was to buy a ticket to the float conference and go, and hopefully I would meet Crash. And then I found out in December, while I was on vacation in North Carolina for Christmas, that Crash is no longer alive.
Oh, that sucks.
Yeah. I was like heartbroken.
Yeah, I'm sad that I just learned about him 20 seconds ago.
Dude, I was heartbroken.
That's why all the pictures of him are in black and white. I was like, this guy's a pretty retro guy. No, they're all in memoriam.
Yes.
Now I want to listen to the Rogan episode and be like, this guy would have been so cool.
Oh, dude, the episode's like 1 million hours long.
Really?
And I haven't gotten through it all.
Oh, if you didn't get there, okay, I need to put a week aside and listen to it.
Yeah, you have to set some dedicated time aside.
Wow.
But I was super, super sad.
That's sad.
Yeah, because I was just like, oh my God, he would have been so dope to meet. But yeah,
he was talking at a conference in 2015 on those Google images, so he was at least there. Which, talk about OG.
Yeah.
2015 conference.
2015 conference.
That's crazy. But yeah, and it makes sense too, because my buddy that like loved floating before anybody also was listening to Rogan like day one.
Okay.
Like hardcore Rogan fan. So he probably got turned, because I saw the episode was like episode 517 and Rogan's now on episode like 2000 or something.
2.1 million.
Yes, you know. So I can see whenever that was, probably like years ago when he first started, that's probably the episode. In fact, I can ask him after this, be like, was it Crash Hoffler that converted you? I bet he would at least know. But
not to get confused with Bandicoot.
Yes. That's what's crazy is he's older than the game, so that was just his parents wanted to name somebody Crash. That's just, he's just someone wanted to be named Crash.
I think some royalties.
No wonder he was like, I need to float. I need to get away from this earth and float somewhere.
But he has a really cool story. Please look him up.
Totally.
But it was super fucking
R.I.P. Crash Hoffler.
R.I.P. Crash.
So there's who's like the primary, I guess, expert now going that's alive? Like, is there somebody that like is considered like the godfather of the genre type stuff?
So
don't tell me someone else that's dead. Like,
no. Yes,
really?
But I think they recently
what
passed.
The hell?
Glenn and Lee Perry were like the next. They were the pioneers alongside of like John C. Lilly, and John C. Lilly passed, and Glenn and Lee Perry were carrying the torch and helped with the design of the float tanks. And I think they have recently
sounds like
passed.
Sounds like you need to be the next one.
No.
Well,
the next. Want to lose you.
Okay, true. I was talking about the pioneer.
The float industry seems dark now.
Yeah, it's like the people that figure out natural fuels and stuff like that.
Oh,
Like, I figured out how to turn water into fuel. Bye.
Oh,
no, you'll be the first to just be a pioneer, because you also have comedy, and that will balance out your whole life.
Comedy, yeah. And so I mean, I didn't mean to make it sound like I was like leaving comedy earlier, but
no. In fact, I think you will
doing both of them, like having both in my life is like the ultimate.
Totally.
It's like so great, and so my dream, now that I have 1 million dreams around this thing, is like to be able to have comedy shows within float pods somehow, whether it's like playing an album for people, but having an environment where it's just like no light, no sound except for the comedy tape that's playing, and kind of just taking away from the other people that you normally have in the environment, taking away from the service, the food and drink, like it's just you and the jokes.
Yeah.
It
would be interesting if you could set something up where after an hour they stay in the float tank and you talk to them as they're in there.
Oh, yeah.
How is that?
That would be
how
interesting.
Things go? Where'd your mind go? Blah blah blah.
Yeah.
You're interviewing them in there. But also, I mean, that's the cool part about where the industry is I feel like it's been a thing for a while, and people like you will find it and see the potential of modernizing it, or just kind of tailoring it to like modern day like discourse and like what people actually want to see. I mean, really no one is doing anything like this, so it has to be so exciting.
It is.
You have like a little clay thing and you get to spin around and see what you can make out of your pottery. You get to mold whatever you want.
It's awesome.
It is.
And it feels good to just like be I don't want to call myself a leader, but like a leader / pioneer in the and I've
trailblazer,
exactly. And I haven't been like I've literally I've been in the industry itself, like actively working for 4 months.
Mm-hmm.
So sometimes it feels crazy to be like, oh, I'm going to be a pioneer of the float industry, an industry that I just joined.
Yeah.
And I've been floating for, it's been like 8 months, 9 months. It's been less than a year. So sometimes it almost feels like how comedy felt for me when I first started.
Right.
Like I started and then all of a sudden it was like, okay, am I experienced enough to be doing some of the things that I'm doing? And there's similarities with that and, you know, differences. Main difference is this is a lot healthier of a
Totally.
industry to be.
I mean, that's a low bar, but it is healthier than comedy. But it is healthier than a lot of things.
Yes.
You know? So
100%.
Yeah, and I think I've always felt like, because they say, I was just talking to somebody about this today, like with relationships, for example, it's like 90 days is when you really figure out how you feel about somebody. Mm-hmm. But I kind of think it's the timeline for like anything. Yeah. Like when you're starting a new job. Yes. The 3 month mark is when you're like, I know how I feel about this. It's going to be challenging, or it's in fun, or I hate this job. 100%. You know? So, you know, it's fine that you've been in the industry for like 4 months or however long you've been floating for 8. You're past the point of like, this is just a thing that I'm, you know, because new things can get exciting, but will you latch on to them?
Yes,
and start pouring effort and emotional, you know, debt into it.
Yeah. And that's the thing. I was like latched onto this before I was like excited about it. Like initially it was just a necessity. And like I wasn't, you know, people will ask me a lot. Like I basically took year 3 of comedy off. Like I wasn't
You floated away.
I've hid in a tank for most of year 3. And there reached a point where I started to feel really, really bad about that. And then I got over it. And then I pretty quickly got over it, because then I was just like, you know what? No, this is probably the best shape I've been in mentally since I've arrived in Austin. And so I'm not going to feel bad over feeling better.
Yeah, you became the person that can share this thing. Yeah. Because initially you were retreating, and then you came out and you're like, I'm doing great. Also, y'all need to check this out.
Yes, yeah, because like I was isolating severely, like in my apartment. Like I just didn't care. Like I wasn't motivated to go downtown and be like, let's go tell jokes and you know, whatever. And then on top of that, like just leaving my apartment in general was just, it was impossible. And so then I started going to the movies, and that was like, we'll call it level 1. Level 1 of what I didn't know was going to spiral into this. But that idea of, okay, let's like leave the apartment, let's go somewhere where there's other people, but still sort of be kind of alone. And then I started reading about the tank, and I was like, oh yeah, I gotta be in this tank. And then I was just in the tank.
And then you were way in the tank.
I was was deep in the tank. And then I finally got out of the tank, and I started performing again. But it was that thing where, like, you know, I was talking with somebody today about, it could have been Pat, I don't know. Just about, it was my mother, about how, you know, people who perform are generally flaky. And so year 3, I was one of those flaky people, because it was like, I didn't feel capable enough to go out and do sets. But then I through the floating, you know, I was starting to feel better. And then I would start to, because I was feeling better, I would agree to stuff more. And then that time would come, and then I just still wasn't like ready to perform. And then now I'm on the other side of that. But I was basically proactive. I was basically hiding in a tank, and it changed my life for the better, you know.
Yeah. I think it's inevitable that ultimately what we all search for is like a little bit of balance. So I think obviously as you've like started now adding to this float world with the podcast and aspirations, you're like, this is starting to feel heavy. And I need to go to the other side. And kind of just make it way balance. Even. Yeah.
But the combination of stand up and this is like, It's so good.
It's what you need.
And being able to do stand-up at the float conference is going to be so cool.
Yeah. It's going to be
so cool.
It is going to be cool. I feel like it's you're going to have a lot of jokes that wouldn't work here, but it's going to work there.
Yeah, no, they sort of work here, and that's all I can get is sort of.
Yeah.
You know?
But they're going to be never appreciated more than when
I know.
you're doing it at the
I'm going to have all this material and I'm like back and forth between like, do I do half float therapy material and half like, this is who I am as a comic, which is kind of a nightmare material. Or do I do all float therapy material? I don't know which one to do.
You'll have like half and half prepared, but you'll know which one you need to spend more time on pretty quickly.
Like in the moment.
Yeah. I mean, if anything, you can just over prepare, have too much time on both ends, because it's impossible that they'll like both equally. So they'll like one a little bit more.
Yeah.
You know,
some of them have already like, so there's like a lot of Kill Tony fans in the float industry.
Great.
Which is, you said great just the way that I I think about great. It's like, great.
Yeah.
You know? So I have spent some time talking to some people who are leaders in the float industry who might think I'm one way that I am not, because of what they have seen prior to actually having like a conversation with me, right? And so there's been like some standing up for myself I've had to do, because it's like yes, and I'm smart as shit. Like I'm not just like, you know,
you're not a gimmick.
Yeah, right. And so just like getting people to take me seriously and understanding that like, hey, homie, don't play no shit.
Yeah. Especially now that I'm floating.
Especially now that I'm floating.
Yeah.
Homie, don't play no shit.
Yeah. I think it's going to be anytime like you have to do comedy in like an unorthodox spot, it ends up being really, I did like an anime convention once, and it was like so funny. Yeah. And fun, like, they were just like really, they were pumped to see it. Like they're like, comedy, whoa. And then you could like say whatever and like, So I hope, I mean, I will say the float conference seems like an actual conference versus the anime convention was just people wearing animal ears and, you know, tails, and it was weird, but the excitement will probably be similar, where they're like, comedy, that's not what usually happens here. And then you can just slide in and do your thing. And
that's the thing about it. I'm not gonna say it's the first time they've done this at a float conference. You're not
the Christopher Columbus of the fucking comedy.
Well, so it's like, I've seen a couple things. So Duncan Trussell went to the conference, I want to say either in 2015, 2017 maybe. I'm not 100% sure on that, but he recorded an episode of Duncan Trussell's Power Hour there. He was geeked out, but clearly geeked out. And so that's happened. And then I also watched something where, and maybe I'm not remembering this correctly, but I think I am. They selected like maybe 4 or 5 people in the float industry who the purpose of this segment of the conference was to tell funny stories. So the goal for each of them was to be funny. And I remember watching it and just feeling like, oh my God.
It's like a bachelor speech. You're like, for those of you that don't know who I am,
It's just, I feel like the microphones, you know, I didn't know how much of this was like bombing and how much of it was the microphones not actually picking up
even
laughter.
Worse.
And so you can't really tell when you're on YouTube. And so it looks like hard bombing. And I'm just like, dude, I don't know. Because, you know, if this set ends up getting posted anywhere and I just look like I'm eating, you know,
it might be a bunch of like chill ass people that are just smiling and having a good time, you know? Like something in the middle where like, because a lot of times like an audience will be having a good time, but they're not like audible laughers.
So there's definitely going to be some people freaking.
Just polite.
Polite.
Cool.
Yeah, I think the float, and it's just it's not nice people. There are some heathens.
Totally.
They're in every industry.
Totally.
You can't get out of it in the float
can't.
industry, and it's sad that there are people who are, can be kind of out to get you. It's something I've had to watch recently, and it just, yeah.
Well, anytime you try to do anything kind of exciting or brave or just kind of like game changing, there's going to be like 3 types of people around you.
Yeah.
It's the people that are like cheering for you and like wanting to know what's going on.
Yeah.
It's the people that don't give a fuck. And then it's the people that are figuring out how they can appear like you're there in the first group while taking something from you.
Yes, 100%.
So,
yeah. And then there's people in it like who are in it because they want to save lives and they want to save the world. There's other people who are in it that are in it just because they feel like it's a fad. It's gaining in popularity and they just like have the money to do it, and they don't know actually what to do. And so I don't want to be like that when I own my own spa.
Yeah.
Like, which is why I got a job at a spa.
Yeah.
So I could learn the ins and outs. And a lot of the stuff is pretty straightforward, but like the I don't know. I want to know everything there is to know about the tank and how to maintain them and fix them and I don't know.
I also think by nature of how big those things are, the float industry will never be super duper social in the way that a run club is, because a run club is like,
oh god,
I don't know how many people running at the same time.
You in a run club? You run?
No, I don't go to run. Hell no. Also, I have all those people like don't have jobs, or like, like I have to go do shit. I don't have time for run club. Also, I would injure myself when I would run. So I really, if I'm going to run, it's like a mile to like keep my cardio up, but that's about it. But the float, like a float spa, it's like how many tanks max? 6?
Yeah, we have 5.
Yeah. So like you can only really have, unless you go and then you wait for your boys to float and then it turns into like an all afternoon thing. You know what I'm saying? It's never going to be it may be social in the sense where we all meet up after and we'll have like a drink or stuff, but it's not a thing. We're all going to go float right now. It's like, no, you're not. There's 5 tanks and there's 27 of y'all.
Also, drinking after a float would be so counterproductive.
Yeah. It's like going to McDonald's after a workout.
But on that same note, there are people who like are deep in their cigarette addiction, and so they'll like the first thing after they float will be
floats can be stressful. You
they're
can
like,
walk out and
I
be
gotta
like,
go.
I need a cigarette.
Some people just leave the spot and they go light up out front, and they'll come back in and we have like an oxygen bar and they'll hop on. It's like, let's restore your lungs.
Well, that's smart. That's really smart, actually. Is do some people make the pod smell weird? Like cigarettes and stuff? I can. Do you have to like spray shit and like diffusers?
You gotta do a damn holy ritual in those
that's
rooms
what I'm thinking.
sometimes.
Light some incense
with the Palo Santo and
yeah.
Sometimes it's like that couple I was telling you about.
When you were thinking the whole time, were you talking the whole time? I was thinking like they probably made it smell a little.
Yeah, or if you've just hotboxed in the car, they'll roll in and it's like, God. Damn, bro.
Yeah, I mean the thing about those, like any sort of spa environment, like it has a very distinct smell, but it's not a strong one.
No,
it's not like overpowering. It's like a eucalyptus type vibe,
peppermint.
Yes, exactly. And so that stuff smells great, but it will get smothered by old janky car type energy. Yeah,
and so hygiene is definitely a topic of conversation when you are floating.
Yeah.
Especially because like different spas have different rules around what that looks like. So my understanding / the only way this should go is that you need to wash your ass before you get in a tank.
Yeah.
That's the only understanding I have.
Yeah.
And I visited a spa recently. She was giving me a tour. It was a couple months ago out in Dallas. And there's a shower in there, but she's like, if you want to shower, you can, or you don't have to. You can hop right in. Not a big deal. And I was like, what do you mean I can just hop right in?
Yeah.
People are getting in here without washing their ass first?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Crazy.
And it's I think it's just like a lifestyle thing. Like just any sort of pre-screening question, like, okay, you're gonna come in, that's fine. First, like, how often do you brush your teeth?
Yeah.
You know, like just like something to just get an indication of like who's coming, if they even really belong, you know? Because
That's so
really
funny.
like you're supposed to be in like a serene type of energy.
Yeah.
And nothing breaks that facade up like the smell of literal ass.
Literal
ass. Yeah.
Yeah. And so there's different things, like that's what the waiver is for also. Like there's specific things in there, like, people, smell of human, we can mitigate that. We can get rid of that. There's other things, any damage of the pods, and by damage I mean like maybe people joke about like, oh, what if I accidentally pee in there, and it's like, you think that's funny. That's not funny to me.
And also, we'll be able to tell real fucking quick.
Right? And so there's things like that are in the waivers that are
I
like
would feel
spelled.
too out of my own body. Like, I don't know how, like, I wouldn't even think about peeing. Like, you're not, if you do it right, you're like not on this earth. You're like not, in a weird dimension.
Yeah, bladders
within
don't exist
yourself.
in this dimension.
That's not even a thing. You have other stuff to worry about. You may come out and be like, oh yeah, I have to pee right now.
Yes.
But like when you're in there,
no,
you kind of will have to be doing things wrong, or you're too scared to let yourself go to be like, I'm gonna pee right now.
Yes, 100%.
So
yeah, there's some things in place to not prevent, but definitely hold people accountable for anything that might happen.
Like some collateral
in a pot. Yeah, exactly. And so I don't know. The pot has it's saved my life, dude. I don't.
Did you think about naming this the podcast?
So that is what my.
Oh, come on! You're not even. I thought I was gonna do like a.
That is what my. That was one of the ideas.
Oh, okay.
That was one of the ideas.
So I'm just behind the.
No, it just was for me too similar to something that had already been done before, which was the float pod.
Yeah.
The podcast, like it just
also
it was too
hard to
similar.
Google and find. If you're like, what's your podcast name? The podcast. You're like, okay, what do I look up?
Right.
Post
float clarity.
PFC.
Clear as day.
Episode 1.
PFC episode 1.
PFC 1.
There was a lot of names that were cycled through, a lot of thinking. I'm still trying to come up with a name. Like I want to own my own spa one day. I want to come up with a name for that.
Wash your ass.
Yeah, literally. And to say, like, I don't want to make it sound like people are getting in there with unwashed ass, even though I know for a fact that people are. But like the solution in the pod is designed to be like a completely sterile environment. Like it's just very, if you're doing everything you should be doing right with the maintenance of the water and the pod, then you shouldn't have issues. Right. But the thought of somebody getting in there with unwashed ass really does freak me out. And the way some of the spas kind of go about there's even spas where it's like, oh, you don't have to use soap, just like rinse off. And I'm just like, just take a washcloth and do just one head to toe.
Because the tough part is the people that feel like they don't need to are probably the ones that need to.
Yes.
And the ones that are like, oh, I'll do it because they're already cleanly, so they want to get clean.
Yeah. I can't get in there without, I'm sorry, but wash your ass.
Get a little quick scrub before you get in there.
Just 5 seconds.
It'll be best for everybody involved.
Yeah. But at the same time, it's like a pool environment. The regulations that go around maintaining pools are also for float pods.
Totally.
You know?
Yeah. The only difference is the lifeguard has a front desk, and
Yeah.
you don't really need to.
You don't really.
No.
No. I mean, we have a front desk. That's a front desk.
Yeah.
Not a 12-foot ladder.
Yeah.
You know. But yeah, you have fucked up ankles or ankle.
Mm-hmm.
And so you need to get in a float pod.
I do. I did take peptides.
I don't care about your peptides.
And it helped, but
Oh.
the one thing,
Well,
the one thing
in that
they were
case.
saying, actually, the one thing they were saying is you should start looking into like swimming and stuff because it's way less impact on your joints.
Yeah.
Like I can keep, like yes, I did destroy my ankle on a freak accident, but it's at a point where it's like things will never fully heal, and if I want to be staying in shape, I gotta do some water related stuff. So
Yeah.
it could be a good segue.
Now you have a resource
I do have a
for
resource.
float therapy.
I do.
And so we got to get you in a tank.
I'm down to do that.
And thank you for helping me save the world.
Of course.
Okay.
I feel good.
Well, we're going to wrap this up before this open mic starts.
Yeah, that's true.
'Cause it's going to be a nightmare.
Yeah. We
trying
can't
to
have two
battle
open
that.
mics going on at the same time. Yeah.
But Robert, thank you for joining me. It's
Of
like
course.
really a blast to have you like on board, and really cool to be able to talk about float therapy with just, you know, somebody who has experienced the benefits of it and is equally not equally invested, but definitely like excited to you know, get the word out. And so I really appreciate you being here today.
Of course.
And helping me, and not only with this, but for the things I'll ask for in the future, because I need a lot of help from everybody. So yeah, we're gonna wrap it up here. I think that was an excellent
Good
first episode. Yeah, very solid. More of what we have to look forward to is just, I'm going to have comics that I've brought through the spot on, or comics who know about float therapy. Hopefully going to have industry experts on as well. And I'm really just excited to talk weekly about float therapy with you guys. Yeah, thank you for the support. Till next time.
Goodbye. I was looking at that camera, and there's one right there. It's like,
You'll see
I
Robert.
forgot.
Goodbye.